More now on the Israel-Gaza conflict. Joining us live is Israel's Defence Forces International Spokesperson, Lieutenant Colonel Jonathan Conricus. Really appreciate your time. Thank you so much. Tell us what's happening on the Gaza border now. Is today the day for that ground invasion to get underway in earnest?
Good morning to you. I am sure that everybody wants to know, but of course we won't advertise our intentions ahead of time. Combat operations are ongoing. We are striking in the Gaza Strip. We're hunting their commanders. We are degrading their military capabilities, and we are preparing for the next stage of operations, which will eventually lead us to the complete dismantling of Hamas as a military entity.
And when we look at that next stage, and I do completely understand that you can't flag your intentions, but what can you tell us about what that could look like?
It will definitely be more intense and high pace of operations. And we will try to, in a swift and decisive way, reach Hamas commanders, kill as many as possible Hamas terrorists, and while inflicting minimal damage to civilians and the infrastructure, simply dismantling Hamas. It sounds short and you can say it in a sentence, but unfortunately reality on the ground most likely will be an extended period of time. This is a combat environment that Hamas has had the ability to prepare in advance for any type of our activity. They're heavily defended and fortified, and it will require a lot of resources on our behalf to get the job done.
Various humanitarian groups right around the world are accusing Israel of war crimes. They're saying it's impossible to evacuate millions of people from that northern parts of Gaza as Israel has requested. Do you have a good picture of what proportion of civilians have already left? And are you comfortable with going ahead with that ground invasion, knowing the civilian death toll could be horrific?
I fail to understand how evacuating civilians from an active combat zone could be a war crime. I really don't understand. Maybe it's me, but I cannot understand the logic behind it. It's like you're damned if you do and you're damned if you don't. We're trying to do the right thing, to evacuate civilians so that we can conduct significant combat activities, and then we get criticism for doing that. We will remain focused on what needs to be done. The Gazan civilians are not our enemies. We are not targeting them. We try not to strike civilian infrastructure and not to affect civilians, but we are at war and we are hunting Hamas terrorists that are hiding between and under the civilian population. They're embedding themselves using civilians as human shields, and they're making it very difficult. But we will continue to abide by the law of armed conflict and our own moral compass.
How ready are your troops? And can you give us a sense of the scale of the influx you've seen in terms of people returning to Israel to join this fight with you, to take up arms?
Yes, many more people have reported to duty than we actually summoned. I think it's around 130 or 150% in many units, which is a very clear indicator that many Israelis understand that now is a special time and that there is a significant task there's a significant task at hand that needs to be executed. The morale is high. I'd say that the morale is high, but people are also aware, our soldiers are aware that they stand in front of a significant, challenging task, one that will require professionalism, resolve, focus, but also containment and restraint, because we're going to be fighting in an urban area and we don't want to kill civilians, and that we're fighting against an enemy of the lowest order when it comes to their morals and their regard for human life. So it is a challenge, but our troops are confident, our commanders are confident, and we know that we definitely have all the right reasons in the world to launch whatever it is that we will launch soon, because we have been attacked, our civilians have been killed and butchered and abducted, and we cannot sustain this situation on our southern border. It needs to change.